Hi, it's Nicole here with Bonnie, and we're going to be talking about jumping. Now, I heard that Bonnie was getting back into the habit of jumping again, maybe from learning it from other dogs here, for example. So we want to make sure that she doesn't bring any of those bad habits home, and anytime she interacts with people, she should remain on the ground. So we have a few options to try to nip this in the bud here. And one, you want to make sure that you allow a decent amount of time to work on this. So set aside a couple hours or something if you're in it for the long haul. If not, let's say 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour or so, just working with Bonnie. So first thing you want to make sure that you do when you come into your house or your yard or anything like that, and you know Bonnie is there, Bonnie loves you, she can't wait to see you, her head is down here and your head's all the way up here, so she's going to try to get to your face the best way she knows how, which is to jump. Now it's a lot of Bonnie weight on top of someone, so one of the first options that we have when we notice Bonnie is starting to jump up on us is to simply remove ourselves from her. Now I know we've done a video or two about this previously, but we want to make sure that she knows that we don't give her attention when she displays those types of behaviors. So, Bonnie's coming towards us, we're coming in the house. One of the first things we want to do is make sure we're not trying to get her excited, we're not talking to her, which is really hard, I know. We're not talking to her, we're not making eye contact with her. Basically, we don't want to acknowledge her in this excited state. The only time we want to give her affection is when she's calm, submissive, she knows that, that's not the appropriate behavior, jumping, things like that. So we want her to remain on the ground. Laying down is fine, sitting down, of course, is preferable. So we're going inside. We want to make sure we don't acknowledge Bonnie's excited nature. We don't want to touch her as well. This is, of course, affection, so we want to avoid giving her affection when she's in an overly excited state. And of course, talking, like I said, especially the high-pitched voices. Oh, dogs go nuts for those. So we want to completely ignore Bonnie. We can walk in. If you notice that she's starting to jump up on you, all you have to do is cross your arms or fold your hands like this and just turn away. Bonnie is a big girl, however, so if you find that maybe this doesn't work for you, she still jumps, her paws can reach your shoulders, she still puts all of her weight on you, you have another option. That would be to remove yourself from that area. Now, the worst thing you could ever possibly do to Bonnie is to leave her. She would not want that. She would hate that. So we want to make sure that we let her know that we don't appreciate that behavior by removing ourselves not only from her, but that entire situation. So again, you want to allow maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour or so to work on this with her and kind of get her into the habit, get her into the routine of, this is when I see a person, well, I guess I better sit down. So we want to make sure she understands completely that her behaviors are unwanted. So we want to avoid pushing her, of course. That's initiating play, so we want to make sure she knows that she's not supposed to play. But by removing yourself from the situation, you're basically punishing her, doing the worst possible thing you could ever do, which is take yourself away. So you have yourself, let's say you're in the yard or something, you come in, Bonnie's there, she's very excited, you try to ignore her by turning your back, maybe that doesn't work. All you have to do is simply walk back out the gate and remove yourself from that situation. It might have to happen a few times. Consistency is key when we're working with our animals. So if it takes 3 times, 5 times, 9 times, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you're working with Bonnie at a pace that's appropriate for her. If you notice that your dogs are kind of over the training, they're not into it at that point in time, don't worry. Try to work on it again at a different point in time when you know that she's a little bit more focused on the task at hand. So you have the first option of simply crossing your hands and turning your back to your dog, or you can remove yourself from the area completely. Now when you remove yourself, you're going to walk out the door, close it behind you, and you can wait, let's say 15 seconds or so, depending on the excitability of your dog. If you have to wait a minute, do it. just remember to go in, no response to Bonnie. See how she reacts to you when you approach her. And when you do find that she's calmed down, she's not jumping, she's finally, nice and relaxed, then go ahead and give her affection. Good girl, Bonnie. All right, and we do have yet another option. This is for one of those die-hard jumpers. They just can't stop no matter what. They try so hard, but it doesn't work out. We have the option of having she should have a flat collar on at this point in time, but one leash attached to a flat collar on Bonnie. And when we have her interacting with, let's say, a new person or even a family member that comes over, we're going to have that one leash attached to the collar on Bonnie. We're going to step on that. We're going to have a second leash that's going to be either on her chain here, you can attach a leash here, or use a slip lead, whatever you'd like. So Bonnie will have 2 leashes on. Now it sounds weird. Why does she need 2 leashes? One, we want to make sure that we have the first leash that's attached to her collar on the ground, and we're going to step on that. She is not going to be able to jump no matter what, and you're not going to have to use force to stop her or anything like that. She's a very big girl. And we have the second leash that's going to be placed in the proper position at the top part of the neck behind the ears. And when we have that positioning there, this is going to enable us to have complete control over her head. So first leash is going to be on her collar. We're going to be stepping on that, preventing her from jumping. The second lead is going to be around her neck in the proper location at the very top part behind her ears. Now when we have her interacting with people, one of the first things that she should do is sit. Now if we have Bonnie interacting with someone that comes into the house, give her a bit of distance, have her on the lead or leads, depending on if that situation is something that you find that would be appropriate to do. But I'll explain. So you have her sitting from a distance away, let's say 20 feet, 15 feet or so. She should be sitting down. You can still have that first lead underneath your foot, the one that's attached to the collar, and the second lead you'll be holding her, or just hang on to her with. And then when you approach the person, you can reward Bonnie for sitting down nicely. Now if she decides to jump, she's physically not going to be able to. So when you find that she settles down and she sits back down, go ahead, go in there and give her a treat. She can absolutely have a treat, a high-value treat, for something that, maybe she's struggled with for a little bit, but she's finally getting the hang of it. So those are just a few options for Bonnie, especially considering her size and things like that. She's a very big dog, and of course a large dog jumping on a person, it's a lot of weight there. So first, removing yourself from your dog. Now, putting your hands either crossed like this, or you can put them up, what have you. Just remove yourself from your dog. Ignore them completely. Don't acknowledge any excited behavior. Only when you find that she's in a calm state of mind can she get affection. So jumping equals absolutely 0 affection. Now the second thing you could do is remove yourself from the area. That's the worst thing you could do to Bonnie, and only reintroduce yourself after a certain period in time when you're comfortable and you think maybe she's settled down a bit. If it doesn't work the first time, continue. It might take a few tries. And then our third option would be to have the 2 leads on Bonnie, one on her collar, which she would be standing on to stop her from jumping, and then the second lead to just control her head and maybe get her attention if you need her to do that. And also, of course, we want to get into the habit of sitting nicely when she meets new people. Sitting very nicely. You want to make sure you're always talking to your dog. She's doing such a good job. Praise her for doing that. If she's sitting, she's being good. Good sit, Bonnie. Good girl, sit. Very good. So you want to make sure that she understands that she's doing something good, that you perceive as positive behavior, instead of just waiting until the very end to let her know that she's doing a good job. So those are just a few things that you can try in regards to Bonnie's jumping. Everyone at the facility here is trying to not accept Bonnie hugs, but it's very hard. So We're working on it as well. So just let me know if you have any concerns or questions about her jumping habits. But she's doing such a great job. The most amazing downstay right now. But this has been Nicole here with Bonnie. We've been going over jumping issues